Christmas nights are supposed to be peaceful.
It wasn't. Because sometimes, late at night, I still hear it.
My name is Ethan, and this happened during the week before Christmas, one of the quietest weeks of my life. My fiancée had gone to spend the holidays with her parents, and I stayed behind because I couldn't take time off work. I didn't mind at first. I live in a small town where houses are spread far apart, and during Christmas, most people leave. By the time December rolls around, the street feels empty, almost forgotten. The first night alone was uneventful. The second night, however, is the one I can't forget. Snow had been falling lightly all day, covering the driveway and yard in a smooth white layer. By 6 p.m., it was already dark outside. I was in the kitchen making a simple dinner,
With the TV playing quietly in the background just to fill the silence. The house felt too still without another person in it.
As I sat down to eat, I noticed a sound that didn't belong. At first, I thought it was coming from the television. I muted it. That's when I heard it clearly. Someone was singing. The voice was faint, slow, and slightly off-key.
It took me a moment to recognize the song. It was a Christmas carol, but it sounded stripped of all joy. There was no rhythm, no cheer, just a dragged-out melody that made my stomach tighten.
I stood up and followed the sound toward the front door. With every step, the singing grew louder.
By the time I reached the door, it sounded like the person was standing right outside. I hesitated, then opened it.
A man stood on my porch under the yellow glow of the porch light. He looked to be in his mid-30s. He wore a thin jacket, far too light for the freezing temperature, and no gloves. Snow had settled on his shoulders and hair. He slowly lifted his head and made direct eye contact with me. His face was completely blank. No smile, no emotion, nothing. I felt uncomfortable, but I tried to be polite. I thanked him and slowly closed the door, expecting that to be the end of it. It wasn't. As soon as the door shut, the singing continued at the exact same volume. It didn't fade. It didn't move away. It stayed right outside. That's when the quiet house started to feel less like a home and more like a place I was being watched from. The silence didn't last long, but it felt endless. I stood there, inches from the door, listening, almost hoping the singing would come back. Silence was worse. Slowly, I leaned closer to the door. I listened, but there was nothing. I checked the peephole. The porch was empty. There were footprints, but they stopped right at my door. I locked the door. Then I locked it again. I went back to the living room. I turned the TV on, louder this time. For a moment, the noise helped. Then the TV went silent. That's when I heard it again. But this time, it wasn't outside. The singing stopped right behind me. Then it said my name. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. I could feel someone standing behind me, close enough to touch. I didn't turn around. I was too afraid of what I might see. I stayed frozen in my chair long after the whisper faded. My name still echoed in my head. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around, but fear kept me completely still. Nothing touched me. Nothing happened. I finally turned around, and the room was empty. That's when I felt the cold air, not normal cold, like the house had opened itself to the night. That's when I noticed the front door. It was standing open. cold air poured in from outside. The house didn't feel empty anymore.
Then I heard it again. Not close this time, but somewhere outside. Slow, off-key, familiar, the same song as before. I didn't look toward the door. I didn't turn around. I knew better than to turn around. Some instincts exist for a reason. Because the moment you do, it knows you saw it. And once it knows, it never leaves. I stood there for a long time, staring at the open doorway, listening to the song drift somewhere outside. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. Every instinct in my body screamed one thing. Don't look. The singing faded. Not like someone walking away. It felt like the night swallowed it whole. Like it never existed at all. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down on the floor. The house felt wrong now. Too big, too quiet. That night, I didn't sleep. Not even for a minute. Morning came, pale and weak through the windows. I almost convinced myself it was all in my head. That's when I noticed the footprints. They weren't outside. They were inside the house, leading down the hallway. They stopped right outside my bedroom door. I didn't open it. I grabbed my coat and left the house. I didn't look back. I stayed with a friend until Christmas passed. I told myself it was over. It wasn't. Because sometimes, late at night, I still hear it. That same song. Not outside my door anymore, but closer. Right behind me. Some things don't leave footprints. They leave memories. And once you hear them, they never stop singing.